Hi, I'm Jedidiah McQuay.
And this was our project, the Oak Savanna Cleanup and Dendrology Trail Mapping. Our project took place out at the John W. and Margaret Jones Langdale Forest. And our stakeholder was Mr. Grant Rentz, who is the school forest manager for ABAC.
In the beginning, which was our first objective of three, we began with clearing the debris on the oak savanna that was left over from a previous summer session thinning in class, as well as the workers coming out after to finish that thin and leaving the branches that were for those trees, but just taking out the logs and stumps. And then and our cleanup process was at first very efficient because we were originally supposed to have a UTV, a dump trailer, and a skid steer, but the skid steer was under maintenance at the time, which made it where we had to hand load everything. And then our original method was to hand load into the UTV and then hand load from the UTV into the dump trailer to be taken to a dump site, but that was very inefficient and time consuming, and we would not be able to meet our deadline for the prescribed burn that was planned out there.
There was also a brief period of time where we tried to use tarps and drag some of the debris out when we didn't have the UTV. That was severely inefficient, and we did not do that for very long.
Our final method, which was to put tarps into the back of pickup trucks and use those to take them to the dump trailer, or which was the most efficient way and how we eventually completed the first objective of our project. Which then left us with this completed first objective, with the oak savanna being cleaned up and all coarse wood debris was removed, just leaving the fine debris like leaves and pine straw. And then we started on our second objective, which was to map out the trees in the dendrology area of the oak savanna. And we started with the planted trees in the tree shelters because they were purchased and purposefully planted there because they are uncommon, unique species in South Georgia, like northern red oak and cherry bark oak. And they were placed in tree shelters to keep them from being eaten by deer and other animals, as well as it works as a greenhouse and keeps them warm so that they don't get frostbite and die, and decreases the mortality rate of these trees since they were paid for.
Also included in these planted trees are several blight-resistant chestnut trees.
That were gifted to us.
Then we moved on to the second portion of our second objective, which was mapping the educationally significant overstory trees. They are deemed educationally significant by being on the 4 dendrology list for the dendrology professors here. And as you can see, some of them are pine trees, and we keep calling it an oak savanna, but the pine trees are important out there because
The pine straw is needed to effectively carry a fire through the oak savanna, as oak leaves are naturally fire intolerant and don't burn well because the oaks themselves, most of the oaks in the oak savanna are fire intolerant and are easily damaged by fire. So you have to have pines out there to facilitate that prescribing.
And some of the species that we did mark out there were longleaf pine, slash pine. There is a spruce pine out there and a black gum, as well as water oak and sand live and live oak.
And some southern red oak and turkey oak, as well as white oak. And then we took that GPS data we had for those points, which we had to um, pick certain days that had good satellite constellation as well as clear weather for. So because our points are in very close proximity, so we needed the highest accuracy that we could so that they didn't overlap or there wasn't any dilution. We then took these points and put them in GIS here, and they are color coded by species for both the planted trees and the educationally significant trees. And then we use the positioning of the educationally significant trees to map out the dendrology trail for the future dendrology classes.
Thus completing our project. Objective 1, cleaning the woody debris and making it able to have a prescribed burn go through there without damaging the trees. We mapped the planted trees with the tree shelters as well as the overstory trees, and we made our map so that Mr. Rents could monitor the area for future use so it could be an effective learning tool for the dendrology classes going forward.
And that concludes the project. Thank you.